Hey friends, and welcome back to Geeked on Big Brother. This is Shannon, and I'm here with...
I think it's Keith again.
That's Keith still. And now this week we are talking about week 3 in the Big Brother 22 All-Star House.
Or as we like to call this game, does anyone actually want to win Big Brother?
Is there actually a game being played?
It's been a hectic week.
Yeah.
Obviously, we started
or
off...
not really.
Well, it was.
Well, okay.
We start off with HOH. Tyler, fresh off of a week of fighting to keep possibly the worst player in Big Brother. We'll talk more about that shortly.
Yeah.
Tyler comes out with HOH. And I would say almost immediately.
Yeah, we talked about that in the last episode with the beer steins. Yeah.
Yes, the beer steins, right.
Right.
Almost immediately, the message boards went nuts with Janelle fans praying for production to intervene to save Janelle.
This week I saw some things where someone scripted out what Julie was going to say in order to on Thursday night. I saw some things where there was going to suddenly be a bonus room, or we were suddenly going to be playing for the Diamond Power Veto, or yeah, there was all kinds of things with it.
But the thing that gets to me about this, these are people who talk about how great Janelle is, how amazing Janelle is. The second she's in trouble,
yeah,
please production, save us. It's comical to a point, but moving on to that.
So I think we've kind of jumped ahead.
Yeah.
So we need to talk about the safety suite. So it's the last week for the safety suite. Only a handful of people were playing.
Yep. 4, I believe.
And most of them were in the Alliance, I think, or all of them were in the Alliance, right?
All of them were in some version of the Top Alliance.
Of the Top Alliance.
And Janelle got it in her head that Memphis was playing to save her.
Right. Well, she did ask him, but she also did acknowledge that he didn't look her in the eye. So I think she had a pretty good idea he wasn't actually.
Right.
He did go in there. So it was the competition, just to remind everyone, the competition with the laser beams and the yoga or the exercise ball that you had to sneak out of there. And Memphis did end up saying, he just laid on the ground for 10 minutes. He actually looked like he could have done pretty well at that challenge. Yeah. Except for his timeout. Yeah. We didn't see him set off one alarm.
Yeah, that was I would say it was pretty surprising how good Enzo did at that competition.
Right, that's true.
To win that competition, because Danny looked like she just zoomed through it.
Yeah.
And Nicole looked like as graceful as a fish out of water as she usually does.
Well, she did worse than someone who threw it. Yeah. So, yeah. So Enzo wins, and before that, we got to talk about Mama Day begging everybody to choose her.
Because she wanted the punishment.
Because she wanted the punishment because she's never had a punishment. And I legitimately think that's what she really did want, the punishment.
She wanted safety.
You think she wanted safety?
She wanted safety.
You think she was worried about Tyler?
Yeah.
I think
Tyler
she wanted the
was slightly offended that Davon was looking for safety. Yeah. Because they're supposed to be aligned, but... You never pass on free safety.
No, never pass on free safety, and that is definitely a perk. But I really do think she wanted the punishment. She wanted She wanted it. She wanted the leotard or whatever it is that she could be known as, and get her some more screen time. And who can blame her for that? But this, of course, does not sit well with her alliance. Why would she need safety?
Right.
Why is she asking everybody to save her? And so Enzo ends up choosing Christmas just so he doesn't choose anyone else.
So that's it. Christmas is safe. Enzo's safe. Time for Tyler to make nominations. And Tyler goes way out on a limb. I did not see this coming. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. Everybody knew what he was going to do. I mean, he told them that's what he was going to do. We've talked about it between ourselves. I don't think it was the right move for Tyler. I don't know what the right move would have been, but they were not a threat to him. And
one of these guys, one of these big competitors, is gonna have to take a shot at another one sooner or later.
Probably sooner.
And this was Tyler's chance to go after a Memphis. He could have gotten away with it. His alliance would have backed him.
Absolutely.
He could have gone after Cody and formed a new alliance. And
yeah, they actually had the momentum to go after a Memphis.
Yeah.
Right then, because they had oh my gosh, Memphis is not trustworthy. He wouldn't do what we wanted him to do, so we need to get rid of him.
Except for Memphis did the right thing.
Yeah.
He disappeared for 3 days.
He threw that comp, and yeah, he threw the comp, and that made Janelle mad, but that was the right choice for him.
Oh, absolutely, but he didn't do anything else.
Yeah.
He was gone.
Yeah.
So that was good. That was good stuff.
Go to bed, Memphis. Stay there. So I want to talk a little bit about Christmas's punishment, because I think it was probably one of my favorite punishments as far as those go. I mean, you're wearing a cute leotard, okay,
raising babies,
raising the babies, and them upping the challenge, and then she has to have all these babies. I thought it was interesting, and I think I really enjoyed it. It was a little different.
Lot more fun in the beginning.
Yeah.
With Enzo bantering, and then it turned into just Christmas by herself.
Well, can you blame him? That's a lot of babies.
True.
I also want to talk, before we get off of the safety suite, I had also read a little bit about how somebody mentioned to Julie, maybe safety suite should have gone on the entire season, or up until like the final 4, so that there could have been some kind of more strategy in when you actually use your safety suite.
Well, that's true.
And that would have been a little more, maybe interesting. However, I still think you should play it early.
Right.
You have no guarantee to make it that far.
Right.
But there is a strategy in it. And I do think if you didn't play it within the first 3-4 weeks, you got people getting you out just because you have not played it as their reason alone.
Yeah, but we also found out week 1, playing it early, with only against your partner.
Yeah.
That hurt.
Yeah, that was.
They needed another chance, and they never had it. So.
So the POV is played, and
Janelle is sure that
Yeah, it was the cupcake challenge, just for everybody to remember. It's very familiar to us who have watched the challenge. Yeah. You transfer between 3 stacks, and you have to get 3 stacks back.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of these challenges that look like they're from other shows.
Right.
But they're dumbed down versions of these challenges.
Is it? I haven't looked, but it is possible that the gentleman who had done the challenge
and had been at
game
Survivor
had left
before.
it, and he had gone to Big Brother, and then he had gone back to the challenge. So maybe he is doing both still.
Maybe.
And that might be why we're seeing it. I don't know.
Well, there was definitely someone in the challenge, in the competition department, who bounced between all 3.
Yeah.
And it kind of seems like he's the guy who might be in charge now.
Right.
We can't guarantee that.
We don't know anything about that.
We don't know a lot backstage, but it just seems that way.
Yeah, it just seems that way to us. And when it came on the screen, I said, oh, this is exactly like the challenge. And it played out in a very strange way.
Yeah.
Poor Kaser and Janelle, it seemed like they had no shot. And Memphis, everyone was blaming him, thinking he was throwing the comp, when I think he genuinely just made a mistake. He didn't realize that he had already had all 3 colors there.
But then after the comp, after that round, after eliminating Janelle, they're still saying he threw the comp.
He threw the comp. Well, it's interesting to me, and maybe we need to talk a little bit about how it seems like they just take Danny's word for it. She's the one who said he's throwing the comp. He threw that comp. I know he threw that comp. Yeah.
They listen way too much to Dad.
They listen way too much to her. I think they're starting to realize that.
Yes.
That a lot of the truth in the house is coming from Danny's perspective. All right, so the POV is one by Cody.
Yep.
Which is a total bore. Because we know what Cody's going to do.
Cody's a total bore.
Well.
Look, Cody is a very good player.
Yeah.
But you want someone to watch, it's Paulie.
Right, yeah. Well, you know, there is something to be said when there's that much money on the line. I don't care if I'm boring to you.
That's true.
I'm gonna
Derek
be safe.
Never cared if he was boring.
No, he certainly didn't care if he bored us,
right.
And that's okay. That's okay. That's a strategy going.
Right. Sure.
To win the money, and I think that's maybe with the whole new school, old school thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we're seeing. Safety is the most important thing.
Well, you look at Dan. And it seemed like Dan was always bucking for America's favorite player,
right?
Just in case.
Just in case, like
even if I go down, I'm gonna go down in such a monumental way.
Well, he will always be Judas in my house. So, yeah. Except for he's not at all. No. But yeah, I mean, Dan did a lot of crazy stuff, and Will did a lot of crazy stuff.
Right.
I mean, begging them to vote him out every week, and just make good TV. And I think we are missing a little bit of that. And I haven't seen anybody. Is there anybody in there making good TV right now? Janelle is kind of known for making good TV because of her big personality, and I think that's why she's got.
There is
fans.
One guy in that house who is making incredible TV if they would air more of him. Put David on the air nonstop. This kid is dumb.
Oh, wow.
I don't mean he's a stupid person, but when it comes to this game.
Yeah, he's made some really big errors. So, we had the POV. Cody doesn't use this. We're at the end of episode 2 of this week. And now, Kaser and Janelle are on the block.
Right. And they're both sort of trying to sort positions for where they'll be after the elimination if they stay without throwing each other under the bus.
Right.
Which is good. That's fine.
And let's just pause to talk about, I mean, it is a legitimate alliance. They never turned on each other.
Yeah.
And they never, even the weren't campaigning against the other one.
And I find that respectful.
It is respectful, and I do think that's something that we don't always get to see.
No.
And I appreciate that. I also think that's why they were such a big threat.
I also think that's why they always lose.
Right, and that is why they always lose. That's especially why Kaser has always lost.
Yeah, Kaser's always alliance first.
Alliance first. But things I've heard is that he is, well, anyway. Well, I'll talk about that later. So David is whispering, we do see this in episode 3 of the week, that David is whispering with,
Okay.
Who?
Kaser?
No, with, I'm blanking on her name right now. Bailey. And they're talking kind of heated because of some of the way he said things to Mama Day.
And David goes out on a limb to bury Tyler Hanson.
He tries to correct the problem with Mama Day and with Bailey, and they're all having their conversation, and he basically outs his information as coming from Tyler and coming from Cody.
And Enzo.
Well, I don't think he said Enzo to them.
Well,
but
really? Okay.
Yeah, but then after this conversation, Bailey is really ticked, is having a heated discussion with him, and then Tyler walks on to them. They're having a heated discussion, calls them in upstairs, and he basically tells them, I just threw you under the bus. And Tyler kind of loses it in a very Tyler way. And it was kind of fun to see it. You could tell he was very, very mad in a very laid back way. and he should be.
Yeah.
I mean, he was already convinced Davon didn't trust him. I wasn't convinced Davon didn't trust him. I think she was fine with him, but now she doesn't trust him.
I don't think Davon trusts anyone.
And she shouldn't.
Maybe Bailey.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, David is so awesome.
Four people who stuck their necks out for him last week
yeah.
are now burned with each other over things that have been shared, and he's just not playing it well at all.
Yeah, I mean, he's so bad. He's not just tearing down his game. He's tearing down anyone who helps him.
Yeah,
it's kind of hilarious.
So Tyler takes the easy way out and ends up coming at the other end of the week thinking he is going to be persona non grata, and he's in big trouble if one of his alliance members doesn't win it, and maybe even if they do, depending on what they think about how close he is with David.
Right.
So, yeah, oh man, what a mess. Just a really big mess.
Yeah, we had a mess going into the vote. I mean, we knew.
Yeah.
The vote was going to go one way or another.
Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed with the way the vote went.
Yeah.
Not because I'm a Janelle fan.
Right. But
because I wanted Kacer's streak of being the worst player in Big Brother history to continue. Oh well.
Though, on the other end of it, we do now get to see how Kacer is going to play without Janelle. I think he's going to play exactly the same way. And we're going to see that, though. He's going to have to make other alliances. And he comes across as being so analytical and so very dry and very straightforward that it might be a little off-putting. So we'll have to see.
Yep.
See how that comes out.
So the vote goes down. Janelle goes home. We start a new HOH.
And there's lots of people just to throw in there have been talking about how classy Janelle was, because she could have really, especially with Nicole, said some things that were. Yeah, she could have really blown up some things, and she was very classy about her exit. Well, she's older now, and she's got a lot to lose in the real world by not acting classy.
Well, there was one Janelle quote that came out at the end of all this. It's week 3, and Big Brother's already been canceled. Talking about her own eviction.
Wow.
Oh, come on, Janelle.
Wow.
No one's bigger than this game, and especially not a 4-time loser.
So the competition for the HOH begins at the end of the episode, and we immediately the competition was
for years
was rolling a ball up a thing. It was a carnival game. Basically, you had to get 3 balls, and then there was different heats. And so we immediately go to the feeds afterwards, because we're expecting to be able to watch it live.
For years, we've been able to watch live feeds immediately after the episode ended.
The only thing we were able to watch is a lot of really negative comments about how people hate the feeds in the conversation.
There were kittens.
And there were kittens and dogs that were there too. That's what they put on the feeds when there's the house is on hold, and we read a little bit online that said that we couldn't see the feeds because of the West Coast hadn't seen the episode yet, and so that's a little problematic, because if it's always going to be like that and West Coast is always going to have it at 8 o'clock, we're never going to be able to see Endurance HOH.
Yep. And we just have to trust their cuts.
We have to trust their cuts, and it's so fun to watch the HOHs live. When you can.
When you get to the end and you watch those negotiations happen live, it's good TV.
It's really good TV.
And then when they edit it down, you're like, this was not the conversation that I watched.
Right.
We have a quick score update. Okay. OCS Palm has taken the lead in fantasy points this week.
Good for you.
With 9 points. Way to go, OCS. Yeah. Shannon's sitting at 8 in second place. I believe Ost is either at 8 or 7. Right there. I am somewhere in the middle of the pack, but still alive and ready to fight. So.
We'll post those scores up there for you so you can see them.
We'll look for an alliance chart to show you what little shifting has happened, but there hasn't been much. If we can find one, it'll be... So,
So I'm hopeful for the next week that we maybe get some sort of alliance shift, that maybe there's something different happening. You know,
Yeah,
we already kind of know what's going to happen, but it's you know, I'm hoping, and I hope that people begin to see through Danny. I'm getting a little bit cringy.
There's unavoidable spoilers sometimes when you're so into the Big Brother stuff. You get spoilers whether you mean to or not. We talk to a lot of people.
Yeah.
We've got Reddit. We've got, Joker's updates, all that stuff. So some things are unavoidable, like we know who the HOH is.
Right.
That's as much as I know so far.
Right. Yeah.
And I will be learning stuff, and we'll be learning stuff the same as you guys tonight on the episode.
So let us know what you thought about Janelle leaving. Were you sad about that? I mean, I can get that. She's gorgeous, and she's kind of fun to watch. She doesn't mind saying whatever comes to her mind.
I will give her that. Janelle's good TV.
She's good TV. So let us know about what you think about that.
And let us know what you think about the game going forward. Who are you rooting for? Who are you against? Let's hear it. Let's hear everything you got to say.
Does anybody deserve to win at this point?
I don't know. Who's playing the best game right now?
Who's playing the best game? I don't know. And maybe those are questions we should try to answer. All right, we'll give it some thought.
I'm going to go with Bailey's playing the best game right now.
I think she's playing a really good game right now. I was actually very impressed by her game.
Yeah.
I mean, her social game. And I don't know if she's learning that from the challenge or what. It's just, I've been very impressed.
I was very weary of Bailey coming into the season. Yeah, me too. So, I'm really surprised.
Way to go, Bailey. Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to wrap this up because we ran a little long. We always appreciate you guys coming out, listening,
yes, definitely.
commenting. If you like our show, of course, give us a like and subscribe so you get, caught up next week again.
And until then, here's your reminder.
Be excellent to each other. And
Game on! Game on! Game on!